Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, and welcome to the Groupchat Wrestling Podcast, where we dive into the wild world of wrestling, the only sport where threatening a child can make you the most beloved face in the business. Join us as we unravel the mysteries of wrestling storylines, analyze jaw-dropping matches, and speculate wildly on who's going to turn heel next. Get ready for a ringside seat to the excitement and absurdity of wrestling with us every week.
Hi everybody, welcome to this week's episode 15 of the Groupchat Wrestling Podcast. I'm your main host back this week, Mike GWP, and I'm going to let everyone else introduce themselves.
Hey everybody, it's Dan Danwell KC on Twitter, although I hate it, and I think Ricky Knight Jr. might be less of a cunt than I anticipated.
Andy.
Excellent.
Brett here, that bald bro, the American hero on this podcast, and no matter how much you see in the past two AEW pay-per-views, attempted murder is not cool.
And I'm Wrestler Mark, and I think that AEW's delivery is a bit above the brain capacity of you.
Specifically you.
Okay. If you're offended by this, it's targeting you.
And that means you. That means you on Twitter, who has the CM Punk or Roman Reigns profile pic.
Sorry. We have to explain a few things to Andy as he's left the most toxic platform in the world. I did a post WrestleDream when a lot of people were crying about the ending. I did a very tongue-in-cheek tweet. Sometimes I think AEW's delivery is a bit above the brain capacity of the average wrestling fan. And I mean, you can imagine how angry people got. Very, very angry.
If it's a shame we're not doing video, because you can literally be pointing through the camera at people now and they get you.
If you're offended by it, I'm talking about you. The funny thing is, I was actually kind of talking about AEW fans that were upset by the ending then. And then WWE fans, of course, just piled on thinking I was talking about them because everything negative must be targeting them because they have to take offense to everything because that's what I suppose young, stupid people do. But
they wouldn't have watched the pay-per-view though, would they? Because surely they wouldn't have paid for a pay-per-view that they don't like unless they do it illegally, in which case they're criminals, so they deserve everything they get.
Even if they do, like, why would you watch something for 4.5 hours that you don't like? Like, I can't. If my wife wants to put on like one of the fucking one of the Housewives shows or RuPaul's Drag Race for 20 minutes, I'm like, that's cool. Like, you want to watch it, fine, have fun. I don't want to watch this, so I'm going to leave the room. Let alone 4.5 fucking hours or something that I don't like. But
it's
anyway,
ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It just reminds me of when Starfield came out last year. Any of you gamers will know what I'm on about. And some of the toxic shite on the internet with people giving it negative reviews. One fella on Steam had played it for 538 hours and gave it a review saying the game was trash. Worst game he's ever played.
You needed 500 hours to come to that conclusion?
Exactly, yeah. So, anyway.
So, cliff notes for the episode. Saturday was fucking fantastic, wasn't it, boys?
Oh, unreal.
Honestly, I mean, I know we spoke when we were prepping for this about keeping this like down so we don't waffle on too much. I could talk about this pay-per-view for about 6 hours non-stop. There is nothing I would say negative about this show. From the minute we went on air to the minute we went off air, it was absolute perfection. And I'm going to include a Chris Jericho match in that I really enjoyed that. There was nothing on that show that wasn't at minimum good. Absolutely brilliant show.
That match in particular was perfectly placed as well because I've seen people complaining because it was on late. There's a reason it was on late. It wasn't a co-main event. It was on there to give people that break. To be ready for the main event, as always happens with match placements. Otherwise, you end up with a situation like Britt Baker Mercedes, where the crowd is dead and wiped out for a match that you don't want them to be. So, yeah.
And most of the time, AEW, they nail the pacing of the shows. But I think that, again, All In was, I mean, especially when they've got a 9 or 10 match card. If you go to 12 or 13, you're going to struggle. But when you're getting the 9-10 match formula, they've got that down to a T. And this show, literally just flowed from the off. Like Meltzer said it as well. This is a 4.5 hour show that didn't feel like overstayed its welcome one bit. It was it's amazing.
Meltzer, fucking hell. You'll have to let me know as soon as his star ratings are up, because I'm pretty sure one match is going to be 8 stars. But
yeah, his head's going to fall off of that triple threat, mate. Fuck me.
Fucking
He kind of broke. He did break like character to some extent, and just did a tweet showing happiness, didn't he? Like that match was just too incredible or something like that. He was genuinely, his head must have exploded. Like you can only imagine what he was like during that match. But it was very merited anyway. What a match!
He's only going to break the internet again when he releases his star rating for that match.
That's what I was going to say. The emotional roller coaster of some of these fucking WWE diehards. They're like on a high at the moment because CM Punk Drew McIntyre got a 5 stars, which it wasn't 5 stars for me anyway. It was probably 4.5 or something at best. But 5 stars, they've been delighted, and then now they're going to be crying into the fucking tea because one match on this card gets 8.
I think it genuinely might get 8 as well. It might be Okada or Omega.
I think it could get 7. I think it genuinely could get 7 stars.
What's the highest he's ever given?
7,
I think 7, isn't it? Yeah.
Kenny Omega and Okada. Yeah.
Oh, the first one, right? I reckon he'll give this 6.75.
Yeah,
possibly.
I was thinking.
Yeah.
I don't think it'll break the 7-star scale. I think it'll be very close to it.
I think you're right. He'll probably want to keep that one safe because it's the kind of the emotion around it and the significance of it at the time, and his first breaking the scale one. But yeah, 6.75 is probably a good shot. It'll still make people cry. So
absolutely. It was anyway. Shall we go through the show from the top, because there's a lot to break down and there's a lot of stuff that's a lot more. Well, there's nothing bad, but there's some stuff that's a lot more salacious than other stuff. So shall we rattle through the pre-show? Who watched the pre-show here, by the way?
Yeah, no.
I did. And it was basically your run-of-the-mill Dynamite, Rampage, Collision matches. But yeah, I thought Cage, Atlantis started strong. That was probably the best match on the pre-show for me.
It was weird they put that on first when there were about 35 people in the arena, I thought.
Yeah, and they still got good reactions.
They did. Yeah, it was a good match.
Respectable, it was respectable. It was. I mean, I was very happy Cage won, to be honest. But yeah, it was kind of. I think we kind of expected it because it was very out of nowhere.
I think they had to do that to get the title back on a Ring of Honor guy or an AEW guy or whatever. Because
agreed.
It was
a good bit of fun though. It was enjoyable.
Definitely.
I'm surprised they didn't put it on last on the pre-show though. To be honest, with this Fox deal being in place for the pay-per-view and stuff, with Atlantis Jr., maybe to get a few more eyes on. But I mean, first just seemed a bit strange. But
Anna Jay, Harley Cameron did what it needed to do. I think obviously we spoke about this last week or whenever it was. Like Anna Jay's improving a lot. She had a good showing.
Both of them are. Harley Cameron's coming on leaps and bounds, and she has a real presence as well that some people don't have, and you can't really teach. This kind of just that it factor really. So that kind of even if she might not be as good as Anna Jay in the ring, it kind of.
I think Harley would benefit from what Anna Jay's just done, which is just a stardom excursion. I think Harley would benefit from that, definitely.
Definitely, I agree, yeah.
It did what it needed to do. Nothing really groundbreaking, I guess. It was good to see Anna getting some wins, and she's kind of doing quite well as a babyface, I think, now, which is something that we've longed for a long time. And what was the other one on the pre-show? There was 2 others, weren't there?
MXM.
And the Acclaimed,
Rico was cool. That was nice seeing him. It was a nice little pre-show pop.
Well, it was well, he wasn't well for a long time, was he?
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, he was really bad. He did,
shit.
I'm sure he was basically on death's door at one point.
But
he looked really well.
And his movements and his sort of positioning and everything, it looked like he was it looked like he'd been doing it non-stop for years, to be honest. Didn't look out of place at all.
And it's a great. It's obviously great to have him reunited with Billy in a way. So it was a nice touch,
Yeah. And the other one obviously featured our favourites, which I can't complain about. Again, classic Dynamite Collision 8-man tag. Nothing wrong with it. The baby faces won. It was great. I really, really hope we get an Outrunners title match soon, like, because they're so over, man. Like, they've got to pull the trigger on them.
Mm-hmm.
I really hope Tony's listening to us, but I have a bad feeling the Bucks are holding until Kenny and Cole to the back.
Do you think?
Just what they've said. They've said, haven't they, that there's nobody around who can touch us. Nobody, and the wording they're using just makes it feel like they're waiting for someone to, not an Outrunner's surprise win, but more someone coming back, kind of thing. So
yeah.
The
thing is, if the rankings were still a thing, the Outrunners would be in for a title match now because they picked up 4 straight wins, and that would normally push them well up the rankings, isn't it?
Well, Private Party only got 1 win, wasn't it? And they got a title shot, 2.
Yeah.
And
they lost the trios. Well, they lost the trios title opportunity with Commander, didn't they?
So for me, that means by default the Outrunners are the tag champs already. They just haven't been given the belts. Tony give them the belts.
The uncrowned champs.
Yeah.
Both champs.
That's it. The youngest champs ever. They've been champions since 1945.
It's just great to see them getting screen time because the more they do, the more fans will be invested in them, and that'll then push what we actually want.
Well, I think in a good way, had them going on last on 0 Hour was a good thing because the arena was mostly, if not already, full by that point, and they got a good reaction, and it shows. And hopefully we see them do something good on Wednesday. But anyone else have any more thoughts on 0 Hour, or kind of have we covered it?
It didn't overstay its welcome. It was watchable. It was a palate cleanser for a great main show. I will never think about it again now this conversation is finished.
Yeah.
It always does what it's supposed to, does it? That's it.
Yeah.
It's
you know what it is, like let's say, like, think of it this way, the pre-show 0 Hour is like when you go to the gym, you stretch out, you get the blood pumping up a little bit, you're working out with the bands a little bit, just some light weights just to get the blood flowing, get a light sweat before the real workout. That's what I look at 0 Hour as. It's never anything like offending or anything that's life changing or life altering. So however the card looks, I never take it too seriously or get upset if it's not the greatest couple of matches on YouTube.
And it shouldn't be. It should never be anything better than that, because why would you give away good matches on free TV?
Exactly.
Yeah, man. Yeah. What are we running here? A wrestling company?
Exactly.
So the one, just to really quickly, like the one that got me on the 0 Hour was at Forbidden Door when they had Mystico and the Lucha Brothers, because that was quite surreal. Because if you think about it, like they're 2 separate companies, effectively working together, in that one match against like LIJ, I think it was. So that was quite surreal, and it was still a fucking awesome match. But by that point, I think they had about 14 other matches on the card, or however, there was a lot of matches on that card, so it had to go somewhere, I suppose. And it didn't really have much of a story, but it was just there because it was Forbidden Door, and that's the one that sticks out to me. Everything else I've pretty much forgotten already.
Right, on to the main card, boys. Start with Jay White versus Hangman. 1 point I'll make about this match quick. I thought this was the best Jay White's looked in AEW in a singles capacity. And the finish of this match I thought was unbelievable.
The ending, honestly, the ending was so good. It was like, I mean, it wasn't quite as impressive as the Randy Orton, Seth Rollins RKO that they'd rehearsed, but to do this so smoothly was fucking brilliant.
It was like
it was
butter,
so smooth.
It was incredible.
It was a classic New Japan match, but it had that element of, I think, drama and I think intrigue because of Jay White finally being like a babyface that he hasn't really been since he's been like a guy. He's always been kind of heelish, even when he was a tweener. I'd agree with you there, Mike. I think he really just shone, and I'd be honest, I think he could very well be world champion, like very, very soon. The way that they're sort of presenting him,
I think he should be.
I'd make a case for him to be the one to dethrone Moxley, but obviously we'll come to that later. But I didn't know how this match was going to go. But I'm really glad that Jay White actually won, and kind of seems like he's setting his sights on a certain patriarch soon, which I'm very excited about. But yeah, superb way to open the card.
Mm-hmm.
It was fantastic. He looks phenomenal right now, Jay White as well. And there was no. That was the only way the match could have gone. Hangman's fine taking a loss, especially because it's just getting him angrier and angrier, and he's losing the plot even more. And that, like I say, that finish was just brilliant. And there was a few things as well I noticed in the match where Jay White, Hangman tried to do some. There was one particular bit where he did a low blow, and Jay White caught it, and it was like it was so well done. It was like no, it was almost like Jay White was like, I fucking know the tricks, mate. I've been a heel for the last fucking year. Great match.
Yeah.
Can I ask you this though? Like off the back of this, because I mean, I love a match about this when you don't know beforehand. You think, because I thought for this match, neither man should lose this. Jay White can't lose his first match back, and Hangman, did he lose after coming off such a big win? I mean, I still thought Jay White would win, but where do you think these two go from here? Do you think that's it for this feud? Do you think this is a mini feud and they're both going off in their own directions, or do you think they can keep they push this through to have another match with a stipulation at Full Gear?
I think they have to. I think they have to go separate ways. Sorry, because Jay White can't lose now after that, because otherwise you bringing him back and give him some momentum is dead straight away. And Hangman has to destroy somebody next.
Well, my theory is, I don't know whether this is going to come to fruition, is that Jay White's clearly gunning for the title because he said that in his return promo. So I think Hangman also said at the end of it, "I'm not done with you." Like you sort of saw him scream at it. So I don't think it's a long-term thing. But I think we've got one more match out of them where maybe Hangman gets his win back, but without affecting Jay White's momentum too much. But I think I'd love it if at Full Gear we got them two in a triple threat for the world title. To be honest.
That's the thing. The thing that I wonder is where we go with them from now, because I would ideally say it was a great match in isolation. Let's move on. Then when they come back and it's a world title feud in a year or 18 months, whatever, that's great. I just don't know where they both fit in to anything ahead of Full Gear. I was sitting there predicting the card earlier. I don't know what. I mean, I'm interested by it, and as long as there's something in the pipeline, I don't know what they do with either of them now, because Moxley's, I think they're tied up in just the gang warfare kind of thing now. And then there's Darby Allin and Orange Cassidy and whatnot for him to feud with. I don't know where these two go.
Jay White will go to Christian.
Give me Jay White Takeshita for the international title.
I actually thought, that would be such a good match again.
Everyone seems to want Takeshita to win the Continental Classic, so maybe he drops the belt to Jay White.
I don't know. I think Jay White. I think Jay White's world champion material. I don't think he should settle for a mid card title. But
I think he's definitely, but it's not anytime soon.
Yeah, I think Jay White's too far down the pecking order for me.
The two top heavy. That's the problem. The problem we mention every week. The two top heavy. Because Kenny Omega's going to come back. We're going to want him to have another title run because we need to before he can't.
Yeah.
Christian's got the box, whatever it is. I'm not going to say Money in the Bank because that's shite. You've got fucking. They seem to be lining up. Anyway, we'll get to who to line up. But anyway, there's two top heavy. You can't. I don't know. I just don't see Jay White getting it soon. But then again, I did say a couple of weeks ago when someone asked the question that I don't see Orange Cassidy getting a world title shot anytime soon, and that's aged about as well as milk left out in the sun, hasn't
it? For me next, Jay White, Christian at Full Gear, or some form of the Bang Bang Gang and the Patriarchy.
I think that's a decent. That's a decent shout. To be fair, I don't dislike that at all. What about Hangman then? What do we do with Hangman?
Jeff Jarrett.
It's a mystery, isn't it? No more Jeff Jarrett.
Yes, I want to see everyone. I want to see the world burn. I'll rejoin Twitter if he goes against Jeff Jarrett just to see the amount of tears. Oh, it'd be fucking amazing.
Genuinely, I think it's Jeff Jarrett.
No,
No, I think
God, I don't know.
no.
No, I think
It's a tough
they're
one.
done. Honestly,
Who was a top level main event guy who's currently without a program?
Samoa Joe. Well, he's off TV at the moment, and he's still filming. But
You think you're going to get Adam Cole MJF at Full Gear? You're going to get Swerve Bobby Lashley at Full Gear. The title
gonna get
picture's a bit
Garcia
blurred.
Perry as well. Yeah.
Yeah, Garcia Perry's a shoe-in. It's Takeshita. It's who Takeshita defends against. It's who Okada defends against. They're the two things. I mean, well, it looks like we're going to get Okada, Kyle O'Reilly, maybe. If they
It's a
push that
Dynamite
all the way
match
to
for me.
Full Gear, I agree. I think it is as well. Actually, is it a Dynamite match? Has it been confirmed for Dynamite?
No, I don't think it has.
No.
But usually, yeah, these kinds of quick fire matches are usually just reserved for Dynamite. I think they take a bit more time when they, well, usually the last few weeks notwithstanding, they sort of take their time in sort of building pay-per-view cards and matches. But yeah, Okada's another one. I don't know where he sort of goes. Maybe that's it. Maybe because Hangman and Okada actually had a little bit of a run in
They
earlier
did,
this
yeah.
year.
I know,
So
but
maybe you just answered it. I know it's heel versus heel again.
it's back to this heel. Like everyone's heel at the moment. Is there no face? Well, there isn't any faces actually, is there? I'm answering my own question.
Well, every single champion's heel, aren't they? So
Yeah, and we haven't got any faces to take the belts off them at the moment. Not any
Oh,
in the
hang on,
position.
hang on, we do.
They should be.
We do. Chris Statlander.
Oh, yeah, fucking reborn. Yeah, well, that's the thing. Like, what about if Hangman just wakes up next week and goes, "Oh, lads, I'm reborn. I've had enough of this shit. I'm a good guy now."
So I mean, who have we got that's near the top of the card that's a face? We've got Swerve. We've got
I can't think of any. I think
Swerve,
that's why.
We've got Darby. Samoa Joe, when he comes back, he's going to be. Daniel Garcia is going to get put into that position. Adam Cole, I suppose now.
Daniel Garcia isn't the top like main
No,
event
he's not.
level.
No,
Like
No,
the
he's
main
not,
event
yeah.
level, and there's a few of the others who you mentioned that, but I think they have clearly clicked onto this a bit late, like, and that's why we had that whole segment with Orange Cassidy in the pay-per-view, because like we need a face who's one of the most marketable faces who does good numbers in the company. It's Orange Cassidy.
Yeah.
So he's got to be one push there now. You know, the kids fucking love Orange Cassidy. He's a merch seller. If they actually pull the finger out and start selling shades and little denim jackets and that, like, you know.
I think it makes most sense that it'd be Cassidy up next for the world title match. I mean, he and Moxley already have history. I mean, they put on that amazing international title match last year, All Out.
Oh, that was so good as well, yeah.
And don't forget the backstage segment between him and Jerry Lynn in the background during the.
No, that's what I'm referring to. But like, they clearly like positioning him, like you say, to be main event. Like, I mean, otherwise, what was the point of Jerry Lynn saying you could be the man if you wanted to? You know, so I think you're right. I think you're right. That it's got to be, because there is no other faces.
As we review the card, we'll probably start to sort of unravel a bit more when we discuss them a bit more.
I'm just sitting here. I'm just very quickly before we go on, because I'm just sitting here. I've just sat here and just rattled through the roster very, very quickly, just to try and highlight all the people that you would say are at the very least upper mid carders who can go in and just say realistically challenge for a spot of like who you can entertain being that kind of level. I suppose you've got Swerve, Darby, Samoa Joe when he comes back, Adam Cole, Orange Cassidy, Jay White, Will Ospreay, and then you've got Kingston, Omega, and Copeland when they return. There's still a pretty decent array of talent there, and then you've got Ricochet and Danny Garcia just below.
That's a good one, actually. Ricochet and Hangman would slap.
Yeah.
I just hope they give us a reason in midweek. They have some kind of reasoning as to why Hangman's going after whoever he's going after next, rather than just a random. Oh, Hangman hates Ricochet. Why? Just don't know. Just does. Like last week's booking. Like the show was. We said last week, despite the booking being shit, the show will probably be an all-time, and it was. But it doesn't change the fact that last week and a bit's booking has been fucking atrocious story-wise.
Oh yeah.
And hopefully they kind of, it was just as we suspect, a case of too many big shows all crammed together and trying to set up different things in a short space of time, and that it gets back to how it has been, because all year up until this, it was great. The stories have been progressed excellent all year. So hopefully we go back
think-
to that this week.
I
Reset.
think I'm happy to take it in isolation and say, look, there's too many shows, too many spoil the broth. Too many shows have fucked the flow of things up. Having all in, all out, 5th anniversary, Grand Slam, and WrestleDream in the space of 12-42 under 50 days. That's a high profile show every 10 days. That's stupid. Let's be honest, it's stupid.
I totally agree, and that's why I was so angry about it last week, because it's never usually like this at all. Usually, I've always been really happy with the way it's gone, and I'm really invested. And it just felt like a complete departure. But whatever, we were paid off with an all-timer pay-per-view, so it is what it is.
Saturday felt like a hard reset for me. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah.
It felt like
it felt like they were there was a few big like seeds being sown for future.
By the time the night was over, you already saw about. You can maybe point out maybe half a dozen, potential stories or arcs where they're heading towards. Like I look at the end of last night as kind of like for any anime watchers out there, it's kind of like this side arc, this side story has like come to an end. It's a bit chaotic. It's not too much storyline driven, but the action, the action's pretty good. That's how I look at it. Like Mark said, you had 4 or 5 events in just under a 2-month span. It's just way too much. Not enough air for any programs to breathe. So yeah, I look at the end of last night as kind of a creative reset going forward. And now they got 6-7 weeks to build towards a full gear. So I think things will be okay.
They're all going to hate me for this. What if they do Hook versus Hangman?
I was just about to say that, and I'm gonna tell you right now, you build it the right way, and you know what? That's a match that Hook can use in a sense, because let's be honest, I mean, think of Hangman's 5-year tenure in AEW. Like, has he had a bad match or bad program with anyone? I feel like that's someone that I don't know can help make Hook look good and help elevate him in a sense, win or lose.
I'd still rather just see him in Ring of Honor or something, because I just think he's way off the standard of a lot of others in terms of.
I think he is as well. Yeah,
the complete package. I mean, like at least some of the others may have maybe looser ring skills, but they make up for that in the charisma and presentation. Hook's quite bland in that area, and his ring skills aren't excellent either. He's very one-dimensional, or at least from what we've seen, he's very one-dimensional. I'd like to see him go to Ring of Honor and just expand a bit and show us a little bit more of what he can do and maybe grow a bit more.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
I'll be honest. It's well known in our circle, at least, that I'm the only Hook fan. I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of Hook. I like Hook. Do you know what I mean? I'd like to see him up against Hangman, but I understand that's a controversial opinion.
No, I like Hook too. I'm a hooker, I'm a proud hooker. Hook is unite.
I really hope he doesn't start calling his fans that.
Oh, fucking hell.
Does like Lexus King calling them the Lex offenders?
Oh,
yeah, he's in the right company for that.
but
Nice.
I don't dislike Hook. As much as I don't hate him at all. I just think he's got a long way to go before he's the level he's being pushed at. But maybe I'm in the minority.
Realistically, if it was up to me, I'd send him to New Japan.
Well, look, he must be doing good numbers because he's on TV a lot, and Tony's fully stats based on Everton, isn't he? So he must get good audience numbers. I don't know.
He is handsome. He's a good-looking fella. Do you know what I mean? That might play part of it.
Maybe he's good with the women's demographic then.
That's what I mean. Yeah. And the gays.
But I'm not a woman, and so get him off the TV.
It doesn't appeal to me. Fuck him off. Right, just to move on dead quick. I believe it was Mariah May and Willow next.
Fantastic match.
Honestly, so good. It was my
very good match.
Second favorite AEW women's match of 2024, I think.
It was an excellent match. The only negative I had about it was that I kind of knew what the finish was going to, not the finish, but you knew who was going to win, and there was no doubt. Yeah, there was never any doubt that Mariah May was going to retain because of the ongoing storylines. So that was a shame, but the match itself was class. Both of them are excellent.
Yeah,
you could tell the crowd was a little bit rattled after the fireworks of the opener, that they had to sort of dig deep and sort of get moving pretty quickly to sort of stop them from falling flat, and they hit a home run really.
There were a few matches that was the case, that the crowd weren't into a match at the start, but it was just the matches were too good. So like the 2 out of 3 falls match, and even the Jericho Briscoe one, everyone was thinking, oh, Jericho Briscoe, but they put in the graph, so the crowd were like invested in it more than I envisioned they would have been anyway.
The Jericho Briscoe one, like we say, not to jump ahead, but like we say, that was positioned for a reason where it was, and it actually got a far better reaction than I expected, because that is the dead zone. That spot is the dead zone for the fans to get everything back and get ready to go all out for the main event. So I think it's just a testament to everyone on the show that like there wasn't any dead zones in it at all, and there usually is.
Well, Mariah and Willow went just over 10 minutes, and it again flew by. It was very, very well executed. There was a lot to enjoy about it. I think there's another match, or maybe several, hopefully, like down the line.
Definitely, it has to be. Willow needs the title down the line. She has to have the title. She should be the face of the company.
Well, yeah, absolutely. I can't disagree with that either. I think they go their separate ways. Like after this, I think this is just like a short-term feud, because I think Mariah's got. I think we said it a while back that she's got like chapter 2 of this Tony rivalry, and there's a Mina arc. So I think Mariah's got like plenty of good juicy stuff lined up, and Willow, again, not 100% sure where she goes from here, but I personally think she should be the one to dethrone Mercedes, because she kind of lost it really abruptly due to the whole Julia Hart injury. But I think I'd like by the end of the year, if Willow is the one to dethrone Mercedes, I'd be very happy.
I agree with that. That makes the most sense for me, because they've got history. It was the first program, and it would be poetic if Willow was the one to take it off at the end. It'd be great if they do that.
It would be even now that Stat's a babyface. Sorry to remind you again, Andy. If after I don't know, however long, several months from now, after a few months, it would be poetic justice if somehow Stat and Willow were able to kind of reconcile their differences and put away the reign of tyranny of Mercedes and Camille.
That'll make it even more insulting.
I've just described your worst nightmare, haven't I?
Yeah. No, it'll add insult to injury with the last week's booking, but maybe in a year or two, but not.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, like long time from now.
Give it a year. Give it a year or two on the same pay-per-view. You could have Stat win the TBS title and have Willow win the women's championship, and have one of them main event the show, and they both come out together.
That'd be good. That'd be excellent.
Tony, do that.
Yeah. Listen to the man. That's a fucking great idea, Tony. Do it.
Yeah.
And correct me if I'm wrong. Have we had a women's main event in a pay-per-view yet?
No.
Only on Ring of Honor, I think. It was Athena and Billy last year.
Yeah. We should have, but we haven't. And that's only because the Bryan Danielson thing kind of got in the way of Tony Mariah. We should have had one, because that should have really, considering everything that went into it.
This is the thing.
Just real quick, I was gonna say if they build it right next year, and if you remember the announcement for All in Texas last year, you had both Mercedes and Athena there at the ballpark, for the press conference. If you build it right, like at that point, I'm sure Athena will be up the main roster, because I'm pretty sure she's just still in Ring of Honor just to wrap up her story with Billy Starks, and she'll be at the main roster. You build that right, that's your main event for All in Texas, Athena and Mercedes.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I do think in terms of a women's main event, there's two options really. I think you either do whenever it takes place is Jamie and Mercedes, because that's like the dream match. And that could main event any pay-per-view. But the other one, certainly like more recently, like more imminently, even before the end of the year, if they do it right, is Mariah Tony 2. That could possibly main event a pay-per-view, but whether it will or not, I don't know.
I
Grand
think
Slam?
Grand Slam
shout.
Australia, yeah. To be fair, actually, yeah.
That's a very good shout, yeah.
I think she wins it back at Grand Slam. Personally, I think that's where Tony gets her. However many reigns she had, this will be her fourth reign, I think it is, or maybe third.
And then Jamie Hayter takes it off her Forbidden Door.
Yeah. Because she dropped it to Tony, didn't she? Anyway, we've just fantasy booked the whole women's division for the next 2 years, haven't we? So
you're welcome, Tony.
Yeah, you're welcome, boss. What was next? Was it the triple threat?
It was the TNT title next, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, TNT. So, for this one, I think good match. I was really happy with how Shibata seemed to look like he was trusting his body a bit more, doing a bit more stuff. Them Death Valley drivers looked fucking sick. I thought, contrary to some of the opinions I've seen on X Twitter, I thought the finish was fine. I thought it protects Shibata while letting Jack Perry win, and sort of plays into this, theme of he beats Suzuki by count out. He looked out against Shibata, and eventually his luck's going to run out, probably against Daniel Garcia.
I thought the match was fine. I think it's just worth talking about just how crazy and entertaining the post-match was, if I'm being honest, because the match was inevitably going to be a Perry win. It was probably the match I enjoyed the least on the card.
Same for me, to be honest.
I don't think it was bad, but it's not memorable. It was
a good match. The finish was shit. I disagree with you, Mike. I thought the finish was shit, but I do think it was needed to protect both people. It was as Mark was just saying, it was the post-match stuff that was most interesting about that, to be honest.
This was the only time I had any negativity the whole show. I mean, and it was washed away by how good the post-match was, because the ending, I was just like, okay. But the one thing I would say, the only negative thing I'll say is, I personally am not enjoying this TNT run from Jack Perry very much.
I think for me, it's just the whole Elite thing died a death when they shit the bed with this. Up until that, like when he's punching Tony in the gut and they're giving him
that was great.
driver, it was great, and then it just went and it was gone, and they didn't push on. But I think, like I said to you a couple of weeks ago, it's another instance where the Blackpool Combat Club group of guys have had to take a story that was in play that couldn't be finished for whatever reason and run with it and do it themselves. They did it with CM Punk when they took over the Punk stuff with the Elite, and they've done it again now. Like, this is what the Elite angle should have been, is what they're doing now. But the Elite angle just seems to just fizzle out.
I do feel that, I do feel that social media can have an impact on AEW, and I do feel that the unbelievable negativity towards Jack Perry from a lot of people might play in Tony Khan a little bit in how he does certain things with him, because it's just, I don't know, it's been a very flat run. It's the only thing. I mean, I'm looking at his title defenses here; they've not been very good at all. They've not been good matches, not been memorable matches.
So just to jump in here, so just to give my thoughts on the match real quick. Thought Shibata looked great. He was getting really good reactions. Like, he was super, everything he was doing was getting like massive cheers towards the end of the match anyway. But this is the only match, again, yeah, I agree. It was the only like point in the card where it was sort of flatlining a little bit. But it was pretty much thrown together last minute. And I said from the beginning that this was only going to be a case where Jack was going to get like some heel heat, and he did. Your opinions about the finish obviously, may vary, but it did what it was supposed to do. It sort of protected Shibata a little bit. He didn't lose clean. But yeah, the elephant in the room is that the post-match stuff was what it was kind of there for. That's why this was kind of very quick. It was the only match on the main card which was under 10 minutes. So it was just there just to set up the post-match stuff. But to answer your question about like where does Jack go, and why has he been allowed to sort of have this sort of run which hasn't really felt that meaningful? I personally just think he's holding it until Copeland comes back. and that's when we're going to kickstart the reign of the TNT belt, which was actually awesome. Copeland was having a fucking awesome run like earlier this year until he got hurt. So I think they're just holding it until then.
I think he's going to lose it full gear to Danny Garcia.
I do.
I think Garcia is definitely. I think that I can't be guaranteed, but I feel pretty confident that again Garcia's been promised a decent push, and it wouldn't surprise me if a decent incentive is we're going to put the second major title on you sooner rather than later. I feel
true,
I would bet money. I'm a betting man, and I would happily bet money if the odds were good enough on Garcia winning that that title off him.
I was just saying, I'm agreeing with everything you said, but I'd also like to see the title swapped around a bit more. I'd like to see it defended weekly, like the TV title. Like it was originally a TV title of sorts, and I'd like to see it like that. I'd like to see random challengers left, right, and centre. I'd like to see the odd challenger from outside the company, and I'd like to see it swap hands a bit more and give a few other fellas a bit of gold around their waist for a bit.
That's the thing. If you've got the world title, if the world title isn't going to change hands very often, twice a year, say, then this title. I mean, there was a point in like early 2022 when 1, 2, 3. There were 5 or 6 title changes in the space of 4 or 5 months. And you don't want that all the time, but it is quite nice to have a little bit of a chaotic spell with the title when it's not the main title. Maybe have a better list of champions than they had back then when it was Guevara, Scorpio Sky, Sammy Guevara, and Wardlow. It wasn't the greatest list of champions, but there's enough people now in that secondary division to make that division hot and a bit unpredictable, I suppose.
On the post-match returns, thought all of it was great. Thought all of it was spot on. Adam Cole as babyface, I think, is a bit more of a natural fit for him at the minute.
I don't mind him being a babyface, right? I don't care if he doesn't come back as a heel. I just don't want them to completely pretend Undisputed Kingdom didn't ever exist when the three of them are still there in the back. He's got to at least acknowledge it or say, even if it's something threadbare, like,
I agree.
Where the fuck have you lads been while I've been injured for the last fucking 6 months? Anything, just have something, some explanation as to why, rather than just because I'm seeing like, a lot of thought over the last couple of months have been people being like, I hope they just pretend it never happened. No, don't do that. That's fucking Dallas. Don't be doing any of this fucking dog shit. It was all a dream stuff. Just have him come back, and if he is going to be, and I wouldn't even have him as a full-on good guy. I'd have him as a bit of a tweener at the moment, angry, just wanting to get his own back on MJF, and then maybe transition him slowly as the weeks go on to being, actually, he is a good guy. But yeah, he's got to acknowledge them somehow. I'm not having this rubbish about him pretending that it never happened.
Need Roderick Strong to just get back to the Adam!
Oh, every day.
Yes.
Every single week, without fail.
Yes.
Like they would work as a good as a face team though if they do transition the team.
They've sort of teased it, haven't they? Because Taven and Bennett shook hands with the conglomeration in their 50th match this year, or however many it was. And it seems like they're teasing it, but I don't know.
Well, they'd be good for a good feud for LFI, with the Frank Mortal stuff. So that'd be a good trios match.
Oh, definitely.
I agree that a face Undisputed Kingdom, would be a great match for LFI. I'd love to see that. I'd just love to see more LFI in general, to be honest. I'm really excited.
Agreed.
Somebody who's now speaking to me personally, I'm really excited about
Faction Wars, Mike. Faction Wars, Mike. There's so many fucking factions. And I fucking love factions. I fucking love them.
Great.
They're fucking brilliant. I love factions. So I just had a shot of espresso. I'm a bit enthused now. But yeah, honestly, I love factions. There's so many good factions in AEW at the moment. Exciting times. Please pull the trigger on the factions. More interactions between factions.
Factions doesn't sound like a real word anymore.
Does anyone remember Here Comes the Pain?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, when you could form your own faction in the storyline.
Yeah, you could form your own faction. It was
mate.
It's the best fucking wrestling game of all time.
It is undisputed. Fucking no mercy. Fuck anything else. It's Here Comes the Pain. If you don't agree with me, argue with your fucking ma.
The only negative is that it's got a sex trafficking rape assistant on the front cover.
Agreed.
That's true. Ignore the cover. Get a custom cover with our logo on it. Anyway,
Right, I'll get in touch with my merch guy then. All right, let's go.
What's
triple
the
threat
next?
match.
Well, where do we begin? Best triple threat match of all time.
72,000 stars.
I haven't seen every triple threat match ever, but I can say from the triple threat matches I have seen, it was the best. It was a million stars. It was so good. It was just so much fun. It was the kind of match that if someone wants to criticize that match in any way, shape, or form, I don't want to know you, because I don't want to interact with you about wrestling, because we're not cut from the same cloth. Like, we're not the same. You are actively looking for reasons to watch wrestling to not enjoy it. It was a relentless pace. It was absolutely brilliant, and I just don't understand how anyone could sit there and try and through all the gymnastics of this, of that, all the other bullshit. It's just insanity. It was a 10 out of 10 match. It's going to be the second highest rated match I think that Dave Meltzer's ever given, or maybe the joint second. It was wonderful.
It was the one that did it for me. Was for years and years, my favorite triple threat match was obviously AJ Styles, Christopher Daniels, Samoa Joe at Unbreakable, and this one blew that out of the fucking water.
Have you got my script?
I've never seen that match.
That's what I was just going to say. Fucking robbing me lines here, you bastard.
Sorry, mate. I've got telepathic tendencies. What can I tell you?
My favorite triple threat match was Hardcore Holly v Al Snow v Billy Gunn, the opener to WrestleMania 15. The triple threat hardcore match, which has a 3.89 rating on Cage Match, and this surpassed that significantly. I fucking loved it. I loved WWF's hardcore title matches back then. I was just like, yeah.
Actually, the other one was Raven, Big Show, and Kane.
That was amazing. That was
genuinely
great.
fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, sorry. I was going to start waffling about wrestling in the Mississippi River at the Valentine's Day Massacre in 1999. So let's steer clear from me and my nonsensical ramblings. Andy, please take over and be sensible.
Yeah, and if anyone's looking forward to that, we'll do a full episode on that at some point in the future. But no, I was just saying, it wasn't just the best triple threat of all time. It was one of the best matches of all time. Like, it's probably top five.
How many times ever? Bruv, how many times have we fucking said that this year and legitimately meant it? How many Ospreay Danielson matches have actually been matches that you can say this is the best match of all time, and you can't say you're being it's not hyperbole, it's not being over the top. There's the Dynasty match, there's Swerve v Danielson, there's Swerve v Ospreay, there's Ospreay v Pat, there's Ospreay v Takeshita. There was this match. It's insane.
It's basically like someone's going to be writing a 8-page essay on why Ospreay's dog shit because they're so angry. Because this is great. Like, why does Ospreay being so fucking good get people so angry? It's incredible.
It's amazing.
Yeah,
it was incredible. Like, all three of these guys just they as I said before, the perfect analogy I can give you is I used to watch Ronaldinho, who I think is underrated. I think he's one of the best players of all time, and he gets forgotten about a lot of time.
I think he's technically the best footballer of all time. He's the best to watch.
Yeah, and he used to do things that even when you would watch it back in slow motion, you're going, how the fuck has he done? I just don't understand how he's done that.
There was a performance at the Bernabeu one time at the Bernabeu, and I think they won 3-0 as well there, and they couldn't get near him. There was this is a weird one, sorry, and we'll get back on. He scored a goal in the Champions League against Chelsea at Stamford Bridge, and Peter Cech didn't move, and he had no backlift. Do you know the goal I mean?
Yeah.
I know exactly what you mean. I was going to bring it up.
Shimmy to the side.
Bang. Yeah, he just buried it. And I was like, this guy's like, if he had more of a hunger to play and didn't party so much, he would be in the Messi Ronaldo conversation without a shadow of a doubt. But he fucked up by about 26.
And bear in mind, he was fucking out till early hours every single fucking night. But anyway, my point was that, like, I used to watch him and watch it back and be like, how the fuck has he done that? And that's what it's like with these guys, with Ospreay, Ricochet, Takeshita. They do things and you watch it back and you're like, how the fuck have they just done that and not killed themselves? That's fucking incredible.
It's just also the fact that the match was, the one, I guess you could say, I mean, there were lots of big spots in the whole match, like, 'cause they all felt important, but the one with the table, it was so simple. They didn't need to use like 20 tables. They didn't need to use like super high flying stuff. They did like a bunch of acrobatic stuff, but it was the table was a very central theme throughout the match. and it was used to perfection. So there was that's just one, like, many like positives I can say about the match. But also the post-match ending, I know we've talked about how we want like Aussie Open and Will Ospreay to reform United Empire. I think we may be waiting a little while for that now, sadly. But
I think
that doesn't change the fact that Kyle Fletcher is looked fucking awesome in that post-match like spot where he's just standing over Ospreay's body. Awesome. I'm all in.
We said this last week though, didn't we? That like with the way that the angle was going, and with the news about Mark Davis maybe not being close to coming back, it was probably not going to go the way we'd all hoped and speculated. And the only negative to this match for me is that this makes me feel like maybe Mark Davis is a very long way from coming back, if he's even going to come back, because I don't know. I would have expected us to have seen him or to have hinted towards a reformation, but
yeah,
I hope he's all right. Like I hope everything's progressing for him as with whatever's going on as well as it can, because it doesn't feel like he is close to coming back.
No, that was just scary, isn't it?
Yeah, and that was the only negative that like was the fallout of the match for me. Just that bit with Mark Davis. Everything else about that match is just all time level stuff, and I'd say that's one of my top 5 matches of all time off the top of my head now. I'd struggle to throw matches out there that were better than it, to be honest.
I don't know, man.
I want to rewatch it like several times. This is
I don't really watch I don't watch matches back that often. I'm definitely watching this one back like a couple of times.
Yeah, definitely.
Nah, man, not enough headlocks, not enough rest holds, not enough chin locks. I need more of that.
Hang on, Brett. Are you the fella who writes the essays?
You fucking got me, man. I sit down. I turn off all the lights. I make sure all the shades in my basement are closed. So I can't get any sunlight or see any grass from the outside, and I just go to work, man.
Make sure you use that stupid typewriter font again.
Exactly. Always.
According to some people on Twitter that have problems with, MJF of all people doing like crazy spots and hurting himself, wrestling a reckless style. Apparently Kenny Omega could have avoided diverticulitis if he'd have just wrestled a style with more headlocks and wrist locks.
It's so bad.
I did see that, but that was last week, wasn't it? That was on the last thing I'd seen. That was incredible.
Yeah. Fucking morons. Anyway, more of this.
Before we move on,
Takeshita's an international champion. More of it. Jonah's very happy.
Shout out to Jonah. I know. I know Jonah. Like
changed his profile picture now, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was. It was just. Honestly, let's just Takeshita is that good. Let's push this fucker forever. Never, ever, ever stop pushing Takeshita. He's just too good.
Well, I think as I suggested when I was saying, when I was pushing for him to win the international title, when I think you lads are more saying pushing the continental, and I said I'd prefer the international, but that for the reason, hopefully we're going to get that he's going to be able to go and wrestle in Japan with this now and showcase it around the place, because they fucking love him. After that run, they love him in Japan. They probably want him back fucking yesterday.
How could you not love Takeshita though? Like
exactly, man. He'd be in DDT, he'd be in New Japan, he'd be everywhere with that belt. And like,
not human.
I suppose Will Ospreay could have as well. Like, but I don't know. I think Takeshita will wrestle everywhere with that now. Yeah, and it'd be good because that's what the international belt should be. That was 100% of the belt.
You've got to differentiate between these fucking titles as much as humanly possible.
100%.
Differentiate. Have the TNT on TV being defended every week. International title all over the world. And then
and fuck the belts off for the Continental Classic and make it just a trophy once a year.
Yep.
Dead quick before we do crack on. Spoiler alert for the last Groupchat Wrestling Podcast episode of the year. We will be having 2 separate awards for Match of the Year, including and not including Will Ospreay.
Right, let's whiz through the rest of this card. Are we going to do the promo of Swerve?
No.
Nah, allow it.
It was good. Okay.
It was a great promo. It was excellent, and it was a real like. it was a real face moment for Swerve, which I feel like it was more of a face moment than we've ever had from him.
I
He
agree.
did say karma is a bitch, and he suffered from it, which is great. I just wish he would have. Maybe he will do this, but I'd like to see him actually make the point of saying the shit I did with Hangman was fucking wrong. I should, that was low. Just make the point of getting past that stuff that was never talked about, and then be full on good guy, full on face of the company going forward. Because then, obviously, for me, that'll then tie into when he eventually has to team up with Hangman down the line. But it's a great. Yeah. Anyway, I'm waffling on, but it was a great promo.
I think it didn't fall flat, but I mean, I was just sitting there waiting. Oh, where is Lashley? Oh, where's Lashley?
Yeah, no, I do agree. Yeah, I was at the end. Yeah, I didn't expect him to just walk off.
And so I was like, oh, okay. And like again, as the reports were like leaked, is that and understandably, TK said we had enough on this show. We didn't need to overshadow it. We didn't need to have Lashley's debut. Lashley's going to debut. He's going to debut it's Leo Rush v Shelton Benjamin, I think, on Dynamite. And I think he'll debut in that match.
Ooh, interesting.
Although there's another rumor going around that his non-compete isn't actually up until the 25th
really?
of October.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, right. I'll shut up then.
I don't know how true it is. It's just a rumor. I've seen it on Twitter.
No, I was going to say I was thinking that Swerve will come down to try and I don't know after the match, or he'll be there, and then Lashley will come down, and then Leo will turn on Swerve as well, and they'll all beat Swerve up, and that's your little faction. That was my what my brain was doing anyway.
I actually don't think we see Lashley till Full Gear.
Do you not think now?
No, I don't think we'll see him till Full Gear because, slightly selfishly for me, I want Shelton to get his flowers.
That's fair.
Having a period of time where he's the guy and he has that match with Swerve at Full Gear, then you debut Lashley, and then possibly bring up Enduka as Swerve's backup.
He's going to have to bring him in eventually, isn't he, Swerve? Yeah, that seems to be the plan going forward.
Yeah.
And like, who's to say Leo Rush doesn't join Swerve?
Yeah.
He might join Nana, but Nana might have some Gregs going spare. He's selling weed to all the kids in the parking lot so we can buy Gregs for Leo Rush.
The 2 out of 3 falls match. Beast Mortos. Happy birthday to the Beast Mortos on Twitter, by the way.
Happy birthday,
I know
mate.
you're listening.
Happy birthday, fella.
Love his name. I thought this match was great. Thought it was exactly what it was supposed to be. Just good lucha shit.
It was excellent.
It really was. I thought it was going to have a difficult thing to follow the previous match, but the promo sort of gave it a bit of leeway. As we said earlier, the crowd were a bit quiet to start with, because you think, okay, well, these two are fucking awesome, and yet how are they going to follow 3 of the best wrestlers in the entire world? And they did. Like, I think particularly from the second fall onwards, it started to pick up, and Hologram is really starting to pick up insane reactions. This was a pay-per-view debut, and can't fault it. It did everything that I wanted. Nothing else to say, really.
Like you said there, at the start, it took a while for the crowd to get going, and I like these 2 guys that are incredibly over on the internet, but in reality, outside of that, they're probably not as over. So this was the kind of match that was great. I'm trying to think of something I could compare it to, but where maybe the crowd weren't as invested at the start, and they didn't go into it as excited about this match as maybe the internet was. But by the end of it, fucking hell, they were on their feet. You could see the crowd reaction as the match went on, and you would like to think that a lot of the pay-per-view watchers and people in the crowd coming out of that would be like, fuck, I need to see more of these 2 guys. Because it was a case of slow reaction, good match, but by the end of it, they were like, oh my God, these fellas are they're unreal. Because it was you could see the reactions get better and better and better as the match went on. It was great. It was great for both of them. And we need
that's only going to do like good things for their Fox Sports Mexico deal, Like if
100%.
if they're gonna see like these kinds of luchadors getting insane reactions in the States, then he like licking their lips right now.
Yeah, no, it was great, and I think actually what we said in the past about having a lucha belt, with Tony being asked about the roster split and saying he's considered it, but I'd actually make one of the shows a lucha dedicated show, not completely, but half the show be fucking lucha guys.
It wouldn't surprise me if on the Fox show in the States, whenever it is announced, that will be predominantly for like luchadors and for international talent.
I like that because you don't need to have over the top, violence or anything too deep with that. You could just have real solid lucha matches.
Yeah,
like the old WCW cruiserweight stuff. One of the few things Eric Bischoff did good until he fucking forgot about it because he was too fucking obsessed with Hogan, and he left it to rot and left all the good guys to leave because he's a cunt.
Never forget, Eric Bischoff is a cunt.
Are we thinking with hologram, 15, 16-0? Maybe in the next couple pay-per-views, does he get a TNT or international title shot?
I was thinking Takeshita and hologram could be a very good match. I don't know if it's at Paul Gear or not, but I suppose if hologram's going to keep winning, what is his record now?
I think it's like 15-0, 14 or something.
15-0, right? So yeah. I see that being. I can see Takeshita facing him, and I suppose it's a match that is going to win. Well, I assume he's going to win, and it could be a bit of fun. I don't know. Well,
they're going to bring in there was the trademark, wasn't there, of the clone, El Clone or whatever it was, and the hologram clone. So I don't know who the fuck that's going to be.
No,
but I'm assuming we'll see some of that soon. Hopefully,
I imagine he'll be, hologram. This is. I imagine he'll be sort of tied up with LFI, if the Undisputed Kingdom isn't a direction that they go in. But because they beat him down a couple of weeks now, and I think that he's got a match with certainly Dralistico and certainly Roosh. But again, you want to keep hologram's streak intact. Equally, you don't want to have Roosh as the leader of this faction take a big loss like that.
What if
I don't know.
What if the clone is not someone for holograms to feud with? It's an ally. And what if to fuck Konnan over? You can't get you can't get Vikingo's right. Maybe Konnan knows his rights. What if he is the clone? What if he comes in as hologram's clone?
What if it's Ray Phoenix after all this time?
That's what I said. It'd be great, wouldn't it? He turned up. He's got all the same tattoos as Ray Phoenix.
Yeah.
No, yeah. Vikingo would be ace, wouldn't he? Imagine fitting him into all these matches we're talking about there. For fuck's sake.
Yeah. Vikingo and Ricochet. Yeah, just
hologram and Ricochet. Hologram and Ricochet. That'd be
so
two good guys. I still think Ricochet turns heel eventually and joins Callis. I'm sticking to that. So what about that? Hologram and Ricochet. Well, yeah. Do it.
All the flips. All the flippity dips.
All the fucking flips.
It's literally going to melt people's brains if they do that much. They are fucking hell.
Good. Fuck them.
It's interesting.
And fuck JD. And fuck JD too. How about that?
JD's
a liberal use of the word brain as well.
Any JD fans listen to this pod episode right now? That cunt got me blocked. So pass along this message from. I'm pretty sure I speak for everyone here on the pod. Am I correct when I say, on behalf of the Group Chat Wrestling Podcast, JD, go fuck yourself.
Go fuck yourself. Absolutely.
Go fuck yourself. You umpa-lumpa cunt.
JD, go fuck yourself. Get out of your damn basement and get to that tree and make your cookies with the rest of the fucking elves.
Fuck you, JD.
Let the JD yam bag grabbers see this. Let them go run to their Munchkin Messiah.
I'd say put the fries in the bag, but you can't fucking reach it. Next is Darby and Brody. For me, Clash did what it needed to do. Darby finally gets his win over Brody. Can't wait to see what's next for Brody. As you know, I think he's the most talented member of the House of Black. The biggest upside. I want to see him have a proper babyface run. I'd actually like to throw Brody King in the hat of potential Hangman opponents. But I digress.
So yeah, I agree. Fantastic match. Them two just work so well together. I personally, very happy for Darby. They're clearly building Darby up. But I'm not going to lie and say I wouldn't love to see a tag team between these two at some point down the road. Now that they've finally shaken hands and said we've drawn a line under this and we've stopped beating the piss out of each other. Let's team up. So I don't know. I think the House of Black is on its last legs, if I'm honest. So yeah, if this is the direction to give Brody something to do after maybe Malachi fucks off, I don't know whether that's going to happen, but then I'm all for it. But yeah, I think he's the best big man on the roster personally.
I think it was a very good match. It was what I expected, which was a big man throwing a little man around quite a lot. Some insane spots. I don't think the House of Black are on the last legs myself, but see, this was one going into it that suffered from the last week thing. Yes, the story between these two, but the House of Black are faces now. So I'm glad it's done. I'm glad it's over. And the House Black are faces, so maybe Brody and Buddy will back him up when he needs to in the future now. It was a good match. It was a solid match. Yeah. It was what we expected. Looks like Darby's the chosen one now, isn't he? He's the next one.
Mm-hmm. He's the Sting of this generation.
Yeah. It's another. The only thing with Darby for me is I don't think he needs the title, and we have that, as we said earlier, we've got that many top main event guys. It's just a case of when do you do it now and get it done with, and it's a short reign, or does he lose it and then come back to it in a few years? Because Darby's always going to be over no matter what. He's like Sting in that way that Sting never needed the title. He was fucking Sting, and Darby's the same. He's so iconic himself that whether he's got a title or not will never matter.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts before we move on?
I think we kind of wrapped that one up. Really, it was a fun match. It was what you thought we got. Post match was interesting. I hope it's not just forgotten about.
Agreed.
I think it will be. I think, like I say, House of Black are faces now anyway. So whether Malachi fucks off or not, I think Brody and Buddy will probably remain a team for a while, and hopefully they'll have Darby's back. It'd be great to see the two of them have his back at some point.
Yeah, it would be. I'd love it
with a mishmash of Darby style face paint with their look. It'd be great.
Can we get a shout out for Brody's jacket, by the way? Because that double camo jacket was hard as fuck. Unreal. My man loves hardcore.
He's fucking class, Brody. Just a shame.
Have you actually listened to his band?
Yeah, I have.
I like him a lot. I think they're sick. They played Outbreak Festival here in Manchester about maybe, I think it was like last year or maybe the year before. They're sick. So good.
They're not bad. They're quite good.
You shit yourself when Brody starts doing stage dives.
Fuck that, I'm running.
Oh, yeah. One fan theory of that, to be honest.
No.
My only thing with Darby now is I wish he'd fuck that stupid pink coat off. I don't like it.
Well, they started selling that online, didn't they? So that's gonna.
I'm not. Yeah.
For a while.
Yeah. But look, if they're going to end up pushing Orange after his chat with Jerry Lynn, and he is going to be the next title, next champion, it'd be great to see him have a run. To be honest, even though we said he's probably far down the line, it would be nice to have someone as good as him and who's been as big a part of the company to have his name on that list.
Yeah.
But if they do, they've got to get the merch sorted out and start selling shades. Just fucking do it. I mean, look what happened with Bret and the Hitman Hart back in the 90s. Fucking hell, them shades were flying off the shelves. They weren't cheap either. I wanted a pair. Fucking never had any.
Sweet. So just jumping in here, the next match on the card was obviously the tag title match. I think I speak for everyone here when I said we knew what the conclusion of this match was going to be. That doesn't change the fact that it was actually really, really good, despite the sort of rather flat crowd for 2/3 of it, I'd say. I would like to see Private Party get another crack at them and hopefully beat the Bucks again. No. I don't see it happening in this run. I think, It just felt like it was it felt like it was missing something for me. I don't know what it was. I think they were just trying to recreate that, acclaimed sort of coming out moment.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I was. Can I jump in on this? I agree. Look,
Yeah.
it's quite. I find it quite amusing. Again, Andy, you've missed a lot of this on Twitter about everyone saying, "Oh, Private Party, you've got to be the ones that that take the titles off them." Now, I don't see why, based on one good performance, that suddenly is the thing. Again, what you said there, you nailed it on the head, mate. The acclaim thing. It's not that natural. I'm not saying it doesn't happen. I think it probably does happen, but they've not built them up well. They've not had a really good run on TV. The Acclaimed had a really good run. They were really, really over. Private Party can get there. They are not there yet. Let's keep building them, and if they work out, then we do what we've said. The Outrunners have their shot win. They take the titles off the Bucks. FTR turn on them, beat the living shit out of them. FTR take the titles as heels, and then if Private Party are ready, Private Party can take the titles off FTR down the line. That is a far better. Me personally, I think that's a better way of doing things.
I agree. Yeah. I don't think that organic moment is there with them. I think that the match felt like it was a case of we need to find an opponent here. These will do. These have been hanging around for a while. They haven't been given enough TV time to develop the characters and to get to allow viewers to be invested in them enough. There's been some weird shit going on with them nightclub segments that just completely vanished.
Yeah,
and then a random title shot after being shite in the casino gauntlet. It just everything built up to it fell off. The match was great. Like it was actually a really good match. I really enjoyed it, and they are very good, but they're just not at that level for me. And not yet.
They're
not yet anyway.
Yeah,
yeah,
they're a step
exactly.
below like the top tag teams, and that's just because like we haven't really seen them on TV like all that much, and like they've been. I don't know if you've noticed, like they've been flip flopping between sort of being on a like, are they heels, are they baby faces? Like no one really knew. Like for a while they were a bit heel, for a while they were baby face. Again, this is kind of a running theme with the recent weeks in AEW, but
no, exactly, because do you remember they attacked they came out to the learning tree at one point and attacked Jericho. So you're going, okay, the faces, okay, we got something, but then they were heels about 3 weeks later, and then now they're back to their faces, and it's like just we need some kind of character development going on with them so people can get invested, because they can put on a good match, but they are at the moment at a level below, and they'd be ideal for, and God, I don't want this, so I'm not saying that we need to do this, but if you had a mid-card a mid-card set of tag titles, that would be their level right now. I'm sorry, but they're not the level of holding the AEW tag titles for me at all.
Definitely not. They're definitely not.
I think that they could hold the Ring of Honor tag titles personally.
Yeah.
But they're at that level. Like, I wouldn't be upset if they won the Ring of Honor tag titles personally. If maybe that's just like just where they're at the moment. But who knows? In a year, if we kind of actually build them up a bit and actually give us a reason to kind of cheer for them, other than them just sort of doing goofy, funny, meme-y kind of stuff, then maybe it's a different story, because that's what you felt like when the Acclaim started getting over. That's what you felt like, actually, yeah, these guys have got something there.
And that's what we have with the Outrunners though now. Like it's that kind of like real, oh shit, people actually really are invested in these guys. And that's kind of come out of nowhere with the Outrunners, really. I mean, the Outrunners have been going for a while, they've been pushing this for a while, and it's only the last couple of months when people have really been latching onto them. And so the the Private Party need that. They need something like that to happen, and it's just not happening at the moment. So they need to, we need to see them pushed a little bit more, be on TV a bit more, have actually a point rather than just randomly challenging the books, and allow the viewers to get invested in them. Because they're one of them things that grates the fuck out of me, where the internet fans decide that they are the arbiters of what's good and bad in wrestling, and they love Private Party. In reality, I don't think the numbers do that well. I know it's not about TV, right? It's not the Nielsen. I mean, the other numbers that the companies do look at, because there's all sorts of metrics they'll be using, which is why people are on the fucking shows when they are. I don't know whether this was a test for Private Party to see whether they can do that kind of the kind of numbers they need. I guess we'll see whether Tony pushes them more or whether they get dropped back, because if they've done good numbers, I'm sure he'll persist with them. But for me, I hope that they go back to trying to build something, and that we get another team pushing the Bucks until. How about this, Tony? You're listening, aren't you? I know. Right, Tony, you clearly have this plan in mind for Kota and Kenny to come back and face the Bucks, yeah? So maybe you're not going to go with what we originally told you to do when we ordered you to give it to the Outrunners. So what we do, instead of the Outrunners winning with help of FTR, how about this? The Outrunners against the Bucks. Kenny and Kota come out and distract them. Outrunners get a lucky win. FTR come out to celebrate with the Outrunners and then beat the shit out of them. Do that. There you go, Tony. Thank me later.
So the penultimate match of the card, which was for the Ring of Honor title, again, some people's opinions about this may vary, which we'll discuss briefly. But Mark Briscoe and Chris Jericho, I personally think they exceeded expectations. I was a bit at one point I did think Jericho was going to cinch it, but I'm glad that they stuck to their guns and kept the belt on Mark. Now I just hope obviously now with the conglomeration sort of really tied up in the main event scene now, I really hope that Briscoe actually starts defending it on Ring of Honor more, and he's not just like a tertiary kind of character in another storyline.
We've thought that for quite a while with Ring of Honor. Well,
I hope he loses.
It's never the case, is it?
He needs to lose the belt, but he really does, because he's just, and the Ring of Honor champion being an AEW kind of mid card guy, just it doesn't do.
It doesn't feel right, does it? It's sort of making the Ring of Honor title feel less important.
Massively. They've done that. They've done that from day one, though. Sadly.
Yeah, I just wish now that, because we talked about this pay-per-view being like a real creative reset for the company. Hope now that Briscoe loses it. Maybe he loses it to. I can't think of any names off the top of my head. Lance Archer, like for argument's sake, give Lance like a good run at the top of Ring of Honor or something. I don't know.
Dalton Castle when he's back.
Yeah, I know you're a Dalton Castle fan.
Everyone is.
I love Dalton Castle, man.
He's a fucking legend.
Yeah, he drops it to somebody, and Briscoe can show loyalty to his brothers in the conglomeration who are going to be defending the honor of AEW against this murderous group of heels. But more on that later. But I just hope that this is where they start to sort of pivot away from Ring of Honor title being second fiddle to an AEW storyline.
Hopefully. This match to me felt like it was just put together last minute to give Mark Briscoe basically to get some a Ring of Honor defense on the card, and for Jericho to take the death spot. It exceeded what the spot it was put in and the design of the match, and I think a lot of that was down to Jericho. To be honest, I thought he
did well.
He played it so well, like, because the setup and it was like the wrestling matches he's in now at his age are never going to be fucking 5 stars, but he played it so well with his facials and the way. And his, just his mannerisms, the way he was treating Mark Briscoe, and it was great because it set up for that Mark Briscoe fucking hulking up moment. I fucking hate referring to that cunt, but yeah, the hulking up moment, and it was great. The last step of the match was fantastic. Like Jericho's look on his face when he looked into the camera with that evil looking fucking smirk when he was doing a J driller, and it's like, oh no, man, this is just fucking insane. And then when Mark Briscoe kicked out at 1, and it was just that was fucking. That was you actually see the crowd. Again, this is another one of the matches that should have been the death spot, and it should have had a dead crowd. But you could see the crowd as the match went on, getting more and more into it. And that last fucking couple of minutes there with Mark Briscoe getting the comeback, the crowd were on the feet. It was great. It was exactly what it needed to be. In fact, it was more than it needed to be in that spot. And I can guarantee, I haven't seen any reactions. I can guarantee the internet is the same old. Fucking another Jericho match. Jericho Hogan is like fuck off. It was a good match. People need to just accept when he does have a good match, and that he's not Hulk Hogan, and he's not booking himself on the fucking shows. He's there because he's a big name. He's more over than most of the fucking guys, as much as people don't like that to be a fact, it is because of who he is. And Tony puts on there for that reason, and he takes the fucking death spots. Good match, it was done. And Mark Briscoe needs now an angle to go on where he can push on and be better. Not be better, that's harsh. Be more involved in something than just being a Ring of Honor guy who appears on AEW.
Yeah, I think that pretty much sums up our thoughts of the match. I don't think anything else needs to be said, really. But now we kind of come to, well, the one that everyone's talking about, the main event, which, let's be honest, had me on the edge of my seat. I was really, convinced that Bryan Danielson was gonna, leave here with the world title and troll us all like he's known for doing. But afterwards, I was thinking, as the match wore on, I was kind of thinking that, well, maybe not. The longer the match drew on, I was more convinced that Moxley was going to win, and then lo and behold, I was right. But what a fucking match!
Honestly, you're going to think I'm fucking nuts. I still think he's trolling the fuck out of us. I don't think he's retiring. I think he's going to come back in a couple of months. And I think you were talking about it before, who's going to be the one to take the belt off Mox. I think a few are going to have chats, have goes. But I think Bryan might be the one to take the belt back off Mox. Because he doesn't like anything to be predictable, Bryan Danielson.
No.
He likes us all to kind of be. And I genuinely think, and I still think, I'm sticking to my guns on this, I still think Nigel McGuinness plays into it somehow. I think Bryan ends up not retiring. And he maybe delays his permanent, what was he calling it? His full-time career retirement. Because they've dropped little hints of this for a while. Like, people are going to think I'm nuts, but they have. Like, his wife's been talking about how the kids are getting really into it and stuff. He's been talking about how his son loves it and his son's loving wrestling. He talks about how his daughter said that was one of the best nights of her life at Wembley. Just, you had Dave Meltzer asking if she wants to go to Japan, and he's just like, either he's not retiring or his permanent retirement, his full-time retirement is essentially just him not wrestling every single fucking week, and he might just do every couple of weeks, which is pretty much the same as most guys anyway.
Yeah, I see him as not being ready to step away full-time yet. I mean, it's like, I don't know. I don't think so, but I think if and when the time does come for Mox to drop the title, I don't think Danielson will be the one to take it off his hands. I think he'll play an integral part, and then, maybe he'll be the one to keep the Claudio and back in Shafir at bay while whoever's the challenger at that time, focuses on Mox and takes the belt off of him, maybe something like that. But yeah, I think it's full-time involvement. I don't think that's going to end like right now.
Yeah, like it's. I don't know. I mean, all I know is that I'm really excited to see how this storyline develops with Moxley and co. Because they're the top heels now. Like, they've surpassed the Elite, and that wasn't really hard. Let's be honest, but they're fucking awesome. I really like the direction that this story's going, and if they are, when Claudio and Pac shove the world title in the bag, maybe they're delivering it to someone. Maybe it, maybe
we're on a cliff edge here.
Yeah,
we're on a cliff edge. This is a finely balanced storyline at the moment. This at the moment is phenomenal. I hated the ending, clearly intended. I was not supposed to like the ending, and this could all go to shit so easily, like the Elite angle did recently. If they do the wrong thing with this, I don't know where they're gonna go. I really don't.
But that's the beauty of it. Wrestling should always be unpredictable, and like how a lot of people are upset that we're being led to believe that Danielson is probably done full time, but whether that's true or not is a different story. But at the end of the day, the end of that pay-per-view match made you feel something, and that's what wrestling's supposed to do.
Well, do you remember? Do you remember when he started talking about his full-time retirement? Sorry, his transitioning to part-time. And he originally said, I look at something like Collision, where maybe I could do Collision every week and maybe not do two shows. That was his idea of not full time, basically not doing Dynamite and Collision. So, like, who's to say that he doesn't lure us into this false sense of misery of him actually being retired, and then in a couple of months he's back and he's only on one show a week. There's no. I don't think he's done. I don't believe a word he says because he's told us not to believe a word he says in the past. So, yeah.
Well, listen, they already did half their job. That we don't know. We don't know what's going to happen. They've already done half their job. So we're waiting in suspense. We're all pretty much in the same boat. We have no idea what to expect. Like starting Wednesday going forward.
Exactly.
I'm gutted that they turned UTEP because I think I can't remember one of you lads, I can't remember which one it was, said that it would kill his momentum, and I do agree with this. I think Yuta being a heel is going to kill all the fan momentum that he had.
Yeah, but the closing shots, obviously, when you had all the baby faces come out and obviously try and stop what everyone was doing with the plastic bag and everything. That closing shot of when you saw was it Cassidy, Darby, Hook, and Garcia, and that wasn't by accident. Like that was clearly intentional. Them four. Sorry, Andy. I know Hook is involved in that. Unfortunately, they're going to be pivotal in this story over the next sort of few weeks.
If Hook's pivotal, Moxley's group will win at Everton.
Yeah, I mean, but maybe Hook joins them. I don't know, but this. What
if Taz is the one running the show?
Well, no, because again, you've also got like the whole question mark of Christian, having that fucking contract. I refuse to call it cash in. He has that contract. There's lots of ways this could go.
I think Christian stays well away from Moxley, and I think he makes it
he didn't
known.
Engage with him, did he?
Yeah, I think he makes it known that he has no intention of challenging Moxley. He's going to wait.
He will not challenge Moxley, but what he will do is Darby Allin will eventually win the title off of Moxley, and just when we think we're getting the big Darby Allin coronation moment, that's when he's cashing in.
I think that's exactly what's happened. I think you're right.
That's what's going to happen. I don't know if that's World's End or I don't know if that's Revolution. I don't know what they do with the title match at the next pay-per-view. It'll be interesting. But whenever it happens, it won't be at Full Gear. That's too soon. They can have a match then, but Moxley's going to retain. Maybe because Shane helps him. I don't know. But when it does happen, Darby Allin wins the title and he's losing it straight away to Christian. I'd bet money on that.
What if?
If it's not Darby, it's Orange Cassidy or someone like that.
I'd love Orange Cassidy to win it. What if Darby wins? Christian comes down. Copeland comes out to stop Christian, and then spears Darby, and Christian gets the pin.
Oh, I love that. Fuck that. That's great.
Oh,
well, yeah, that's poetic, isn't it? Because that's when Copeland debuted. It was against Christian and Darby.
Yes. And it was, and if you remember, Copeland had some heel tendencies towards, just before he got injured. Malachi was pushing him to the brink.
Yeah. Oh,
that would be great. That would be good, actually. I didn't think about that. That would be good because that would be a throwback, wouldn't it, to the last?
And also, if this happens at World's End, didn't the whole contract thing happen there at World's End when Christian did the contract thing then to beat Edge as well, or Copeland, should I say?
Yes. Was it full? I think it was World's End. You're right.
It was World's End.
Yeah.
There we are.
Yeah,
that's
very poetic.
Surely that's in the pipeline. Maybe they don't have a world title match at Full Gear. Maybe they have an Anarchy in the Arena. Maybe they have them lot against AEW or something like that. And then the heels just beat the living fuck out of them and they absolutely annihilate them. And then
I just hope they do it better than they did with the Elite Blood and Guts when it was a thrown together team for AEW and it just didn't feel important at all. I don't think we have a team AEW.
They've got to learn that lesson. Yeah, they've got to have learned that lesson, man. Surely, because that should have been so good, and it was just
it wasn't. It was just another chapter in the Swerve Hangman thing, and the Blood and Guts was almost secondary. It was a good match, but it was very.
It didn't mean anything. Like that match should have mean that. Like that's the thing. The Drew and Punk match meant a lot. That deserved to be inside a Hell in a Cell because they built to it. That a Swerve and Hangman match, that deserves to be in a cage. The Elite against fucking Mark Briscoe and that Swerve.
I know, exactly. The fact that you just said it like that against and you Mark Briscoe and you're trying to come up with the names says it all. It was a nothing team thrown together for no reason apart from the fact that Blood and Guts was in the calendar.
Yeah, that's what WWE did with Hell in a Cell for years. Oh, it's Hell in a Cell now. Let's have 3 matches inside a cell just because it's a pay-per-view called that. That's one thing that AEW don't do very often and should be better at doing. But Blood and Guts, again, it was a misstep. But whatever they do now with Moxley and co, this has to be big. This has to be the main story for the next 3 to 6 months non-stop now. Like, add to the group, make them more brutal, for the next couple of months, make the heels more powerful, make it seem really fucking dark and gloomy, make it seem unsustainable.
That's why the NWO was such a success. It wasn't because they were cool as fuck. It was because it felt like at every single turn they were even more unstoppable. Every time you felt like WCW had a chance, the NWO had another trick up the sleeve and beat the living shit out of him. And most WCW pay-per-views for a good year or maybe 2 years from memory ended on a real fucking miserable
exactly. They did, really.
From memory, it only turned when Sting came back and came down from the rafters. So maybe Mox beats the living shit out of Darby and he goes away for a while, does Everest or whatever he wants to do, and then comes back. Maybe we take this a full 9 months or so and really flesh it out and really make them unstoppable. Well, who do you guys think is telling Mox what to do then? Because this is the thing that really could make the difference between it being an incredible angle or an absolute dog shit.
Well, I mean, we spoke about this last week briefly, didn't we? I mean, all signs really do point to someone who's really important and who's mega influential. So unfortunately, it does seem like the likeliest option is Shane, but it would be like, for me, I'm in two minds. Like, personally, I want like Eddie Kingston come back healthy and lead the charge and be the baby face that it defends AEW's honor through life and death. But equally, I'd be intrigued if Eddie was the one who was actually saying, yeah, I'm so proud of you, Moxley. I'm so proud of you, John. But then again, that would go against everything that Eddie stands for. So again, I can't think of anybody else. I can't think of it.
I don't know, man. I've just got a bad feeling it's Shane, and I think it's going to be so anticlimactic that it's going to kill the momentum and the heat.
Yeah, there's literally no one else I could think of, besides Shane. And I mean, if it's him, then let's see what happens, man. But it's either going to be, there's no in between, there's no middle ground. It's either going to be a boom or bust program season.
Yeah, that's
exactly.
The way it's there's no middle ground.
It'll go down really badly on the internet, but you never know. The TV viewing public and the event going public might be really into it. They might love it. Yeah, we ended a positive story out there this week. Two fellas had massive beef. Chris Jericho and MVP.
Mm-hmm.
MVP turns up at the company Chris Jericho is employed at, and he goes straight to his locker room, knocks on the door, goes in. They talk it over, go out, all good. Why the fuck could some other cunt not do this?
Exactly, 100%.
Why can and I'm not sure if it's got much coverage, this story, but like two fellas actually acting like adults. That's insane in wrestling. Like, why do others not do this?
Imagine that in 2022, right?
I know, it's fucking insane. And I've loved everything MVP's done since as well. So that's great that he's gone in there with the right attitude, squashed any issues he's had. Let's all get on and work together and make some money. So
100%. So
I'm looking forward to what happens on Wednesday. And you'll have to keep me posted on any of the shit that I miss on Twitter or not, because it's shite.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you're not missing much. It's still a shithole. So, for all our listeners, obviously we do have the Discord where it's a safe space, and you can tell anyone your opinions and not be met with like vitriol and criticism at every juncture. We're actually a bunch of adults in here, and you can actually talk to us without any kind of fear.
Like
what,
MVP.
Like MVP. So
Yeah.
on that note, I think it's time we wrap this up. So again, thank you again, everyone, for tuning into another episode of the Group Chat Wrestling Podcast, or the Group Chat Waffling Podcast, as sometimes we are known to.
We've waffled a lot today.
Yeah,
we have. But no, again, thank you again. Stay safe out there, and just remember, guys, pro wrestling, it's not that serious.
Yeah. Later, lads. And shout out to AW Blog. Hope everything's all right, mate.
We love you, mate.
Yes, sir.
Look after yourself.
Easy,
Take
bro.
care.